Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Doing good? Good. Nice. Very well. I'm waiting on my slides. Yeah, there you go. That's me. Hello, I'm Elian. I'm, of course, just like Flo already mentioned, that's really easy. I don't have to do it myself. I'm the lead developer at React Bricks. So please come and visit us at the booth in a couple of minutes after my talk, not during my talk, please stay seated. I organized this conference together with a couple of other people. So maybe let's give a little bit of an applause for the organizers as well. Great work. Thank you. I organize also little meetups here in Ghent in Belgium, so if you're around the neighborhood of Ghent, please come and check us out. We have a lot of fun there. We have a lot of local speakers, and it's a lot of fun. So we got to talk about the web. And the thing is, over this past year, I've done, let's say, quite a couple of talks. I almost did 50 flights this year, so that means almost around-ish 20 conferences. It's quite a lot. And all of them were about very serious topics, like accessibility, the web, performance, Astro. But the thing is, why are we being so serious? This is my job. I want my job to be fun. I want to explore things. I want to create things. I want to do stupid shit. So I thought, why not make a talk that is a little bit less serious and more fits my personality, like cheerful, joyful, and not drunk this time. So the weird web. I'm here to talk about it, and you'll explore what that will mean. You obviously see my full setup here, and it will mean something by the end of my talk. We'll come to that in a couple of minutes. But ever since I was a very small boy, and I started playing around on computers in school, yes, I'm not that old, so we already had internet, and one of my favorite websites to go through was the useless web. Did anybody ever use that? The useless web, yeah, exactly. This was just a stupid, simple website that was basically a randomizer. So you clicked on it, you were redirected to another website that was useless. And that's where I fell in love, especially with this website. Does anybody remember? The eel slap, yeah, exactly. But I have it here for you so you don't have to take my word for it. Let me quickly maximize that. And it's super simple. This is just your mouse, and it animates the keyframes. Exactly, that was my reaction as well, like, this is so fun. And this is all just JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. It's nothing more. And I can keep doing this all day. I literally did this all day. So it's a lot of fun. And the thing is, sometimes we take the web a little bit too serious, but this is where it started for me, and probably maybe for others of you as well. So it's up to you to make the web weird, and it's up to us to actually enjoy our jobs and make something out of it. So I guess this is my love letter talk to making the web weird. So let's try some weird stuff, and all of this is actually in the browser. So I'm not really going to have a full setup. Well, I do have this setup, and that will mean something in the end. But all of this is really cool. So who uses Arc browser? Quite a bit of you, yeah. Do you know that it actually injects CSS? In every website, it's injecting CSS by default. And is that cool? Yeah, of course, because you can do some personalization with it and play around with it. It's very fun, and I have a simple demo here that I should have in a second. And it's very simple. This is just an Arc demo. It says, hey there, I love BJS. And how does it look? Well, you can already kind of see that it's already taking the colors of my my browser here. So if I do edit theme color, if that's a little bit clear for you, now suddenly I can move around with it and my website changes with it. Is this very useful? Nah, maybe not really. But it's fun. And if my slides catch up, yeah, it's all CSS. There is nothing really there. It's a lot of fun to play around with. But let's now take a look at browser APIs. So JavaScript, where we can do the real coding. Cool. Battery status API. Did anybody know that that actually existed? There is not much. Yeah, exactly. One person. Maybe three. Let's count the people that don't want to raise their hands. So the battery status, you can actually read out in your browser context without actually having to allow something. So you can always read out the battery. It's a lot of code, but I'll show you how the code works in a second as well. Because actually, you can do cool stuff with it. This is very simple. As you see, this is a fading page. And the page right now is 80% visible. Why is that? Well, that's because my battery is at 80%. So if my battery dies, my website will disappear as well. And the cool thing is, for instance, you see that green stuff there, fading page, which is green. Well, if I unplug my MacBook here, it's red. And that's a very stupid thing, but this makes the fun well, this makes the web fun for me. To just do like, hey, this is actually a really cool API. Let's misuse it. Yeah, I mean, isn't that what we do all day? So let me quickly show you. It's almost available everywhere. Just Firefox has to catch up. Safari as well. But it's pretty cool. You can do a lot of stuff with it. Now, is it useful? In the context that I was using it, no, fuck no. But the thing is, actually, when can it be useful? Imagine you have a website with a lot of GPU, animations. Well, you can actually read out the user's battery and say, hey, he's charging so we can use more power. Oh, wait, this person just has 10% battery? Maybe we should spare the animations and do something else. And then, in that case, it can be very useful. For instance, you're watching YouTube, and it keeps your screen awake, but maybe they should say, hey, you only have 10%, maybe be aware of that. You can send a push notification, whatever. It is in the browser there for you to use, which is cool. Now, webHID. Who has heard of webHID? That will be probably a lot more. Yeah, exactly. webHID is really cool. Human interface device, whatever, API. And it's pretty cool because you can do a lot of stuff with it. And it's super easy. It's just wait, navigator.hid, get devices. And it will tell you what devices are there. So let me quickly open a demo for that as well. And I'll dive in the code in a little bit, but first I want to show you this. So if I click on Connect Device, right now I have all my devices, that's fine. I want to connect to the Vault 2, which is this thing. This is an audio interface, but actually the audio doesn't matter for this demo. It will become important in another demo, but not right now. So now it's connected. And this thing has a couple of buttons, and I'm going to press them. And if everything goes correctly, you see the colors changing? Actually, I can control my RGBA values with my 4 buttons that I have here. So this is very dark. You cannot see it. That's fine. But I can try to do different colors. And actually, how that works is really simple. You just detect key presses on a webHID device. I'll show you the scripts. This is actually, I think, yeah, the register, not important. It's just like to know which button is pressed and what actually the button should do. So webHID, cons devices, await, blah, blah, blah. You just get the device. You do something with the device, in this case, on input, and you just give it an event and a callback, and suddenly you can do something with the inputs you get. And that's pretty cool, because you can do a lot of stuff with it. In this case, yeah, it's controlling RGBA values, yeah, whatever. But of course, it can be useful, and I'll tell you why in a second. It's available almost everywhere on desktop devices, but there is still a lot of catching up to do. So I hope that it rolls out quickly, because it's actually pretty cool. Because why can be useful? Yeah, not to control your RGBA values, but imagine connecting a device for people that have a disability. You can have hardware. You can have a PlayStation controller, maybe, and then you can suddenly have something to play with. Like, for instance, we love 3D, 3GS, whatever. Now suddenly you can control your characters or your lighting or whatever you want with actual controllers and inputs. So it's actually a pretty cool API, and I really hope that support becomes better. webMIDI. We've got to talk about MIDI. How many of you are musicians out there? Not too many. OK, cool. OK, that's cool. Let me quickly get my phone, just because I can slide. Yeah, that's me. Very long time ago. Almost 10 years ago. This was in, I think, 2017, 2018. I've always been into music. I've been a DJ for a long part of my life. I still do sometimes. I love it. And I did my fair share of DJ gigs. Not really anymore. That's fine. But I also do analog DJ sets and like spinning vinyls and stuff. A lot of fun. Didn't really care about doing things, whatever that I wanted. But the thing is, in 2022, when I started working at vBridge, a company that I used to work at professionally, I was already 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day behind my laptop. So I didn't want to have a hobby with a screen. So I started doing things more analog. So what I did, I bought a guitar. And I'm a responsible human being, so I bought a second one. And a third one. And a fourth one. So yeah, I wanted more, because this is guitar, but actually, I'm a house DJ, I'm a techno DJ, I'm Belgian, you know, no beat and stuff, cool things. So I wanted more. So I did what any responsible human being would do, which is I bought a 303 and a 606, which is like the thing of acid house and the rumbling basses and everything like that. But yeah, it's not enough, so I bought another thing. And you can already see my apartment is kind of becoming more music than actual living space. And that's fine. I was totally OK with it. I was alone at that time. I loved playing around with that, and my apartment was my man cave. It's totally fine. So I bought another one, a controller to control them all. I only just bought 2, so you see, I'm sparing you here. Long story short, I need to move because my apartment is getting a little bit too small. And I have a lot of gear, and I maybe only use 2 of them to give my talk. But also, a good thing is now I can write them off in my taxes, so that's cool. There is no screen there, as you can see, and that's what I wanted. I wanted no screen. I wanted to have analog stuff. I wanted to play. You're probably thinking, how does this connect to tech and to the weird web? Well, because there is no screen, there is just one clock, and that clock is MIDI. And MIDI is available in the browser context. Who didn't know that? Exactly. Oh, 5, 6, 7? OK, cool. Do you actually use it? Yes? No? No? Exactly. We're going to use it today. So it's actually pretty easy to get. You have to do some transforming, and if you want to read out the notes and stuff, it's a little bit hard to do. There is a library out there called webMIDI or MIDI.js, which is actually pretty good. It's actually available in quite a lot of browsers, which is really cool, because I didn't know that before I started working on this talk. But I'll show you what it can do. So I built a music box. And you see it instantly, it asks me, hey, can I connect to the MIDI device? In this case, the MIDI device is the audio interface, the same one that I use for webHID. But this time, what it's going to do is give me the MIDI signal, which is that cable here, but it goes through USB, whatever. And I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. So I'm going to connect to the Volt 2. It's connected. And now, tech guys, be ready for the sound as well. There is no sound at this moment. But when I press a button on my keyboard here, on my Groovebox, my movie starts. This is an MP4, so it's just looping. And that's actually pretty interesting. So let's take a look at what the code actually does. And the code is written in a very shitty way, and I shouldn't share it, but I'll do it anyways. So it's a React application. I don't actually really know why I did React. I thought it might be easier, but actually I shoot myself in the foot with it more than I would do with just doing it in vanilla JavaScript. But yeah, that's fine. So we already have the channel there, the music box, whatever. Then we have the MIDI component, and the MIDI component is very, very interesting, because that's where it happens. So basically, we have an effect, runs on mount, whatever. We request a MIDI device, we connect to the MIDI device, the things that you saw. Nothing too much. And basically, we have here the rig dance video, which is this one. And we can control it through MIDI. Now, how do we do that? Basically, we check if we get a data event from 250 and 252. And how do we do that, or how do we know which ones? Well, because there is a very, very large document that I went through, and I read out all the ports that I wanted, and it's very big. Don't read it. I did. And it's pretty cool, because now I know that when I go back in my browser here, I'll open my inspect tools. You see the console here? So I'm going to reload my app. It restarts. I'll connect to the Volt. You'll see that, yeah, it's connecting. And now when I press the button here, you can see that it sends a 250, and sends it twice because it's React. And I wrote it very shitty. But when I do stop, it's 252. But when I press another button, you see that there is more stuff happening. And actually, sound guys, now, it would be nice to have a little bit of sound. It should actually start to output something. So let me quickly check if I'm doing everything correctly. Yeah. You guys can hear that, right? You should tell me if it's too loud, because actually I'm on stage and I cannot hear where the boxes are coming from. But this one is just a hi-hat. Thank you. How does this work? Well, I just sent a note, and that note is a MIDI signal that goes through my other box here. Actually, you know what? I'm so happy I have an iPhone. I can show you this. If I just open up a photo booth here, and I choose my iPhone camera. Haha. So, OK, I'll try to get this right. I cannot really see myself. OK. I'll try to be still. So what happens is that cable there transfers the MIDI to this one there in the top, and that sends it to the audio interface, which is this thing. That was the buttons I was pressing, by the way. And that sends it to my computer, and that thing knows what I'm doing. And that's the signal that we see here. So if I press a button, that's too loud. Perfect. I'll get it down. So Now there is no sound, but the sound guys will fix it. So when I press a button, basically what it does, it knows the velocity, how hard I press the sound. It knows the note that I play, and the note is now very low, and it's now very high. And actually, I injected that into my CSS. So what I do is HSL, is this hue, saturation, whatever, lightniness thing for CSS. We can actually have those three values here, the pitch, the velocity, and the channel. And if you combine those, you can change and alter your colors. So if I play my hi-hat here, we can see it's green. But if I play another hi-hat, you can see it's actually blue. If I go a little bit higher, it's bluer. And I guess that was a little bit loud. That's better? Cool. And now I can play my notes in the soft way, but also way harder. So the velocity changes the hue and the color. How that works is pretty easy. You just inject it, document style, simple, channel index times 60, because there's 16 channels. I only use 6 of them. There is 360 colors in the HSL. I inject the velocity, I inject the pitch, and that I use as my color value. So that's cool. And then I reset it, whatever, and I start playing with Rick Astley as well. So if I start playing this, okay, we have nothing, that's perfect. Because now when I start adding my hi-hat line, you can see that the color changes, and we have a channel. Make sure to tell me if it's too loud, because I'll be playing some music. I'll select like a bass line here. I'll put it very low in the beginning, but I do want you guys to hear it as well. And now suddenly you see the colors actually change and alter my website. So if I add a second one and a fourth one, my website changes. And what happens if I add a stanky bass? And now you have it dancing with Astley. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And that is pretty cool. Is it useful? Well, yes, because I have a lot of fun, for sure. But it's, yeah, actually there is use cases. Because imagine, I think I have like a screenshot in here, yeah. This is my home setup, right? But now imagine that every button on there can control a button on a website. Imagine something like React Bricks, for instance, can read out how many MIDI channels you have connected, whatever. And now suddenly you can change colors of your website with just a press of a button. Now, by now we can run Photoshop in the browser. What if I change this button and this velocity and that thing, and suddenly my website, well, my photo in Photoshop has a different value for, let's say, saturation. So black and white. You can totally do it with MIDI. And that's actually pretty cool. Let me get, yeah. And these are just some APIs, and this is just some fun. There is way more. Of course, there always is. And typically, I say use the platform. Like, that translates very well into my work at Astro and the work I do generally. It's use the platform. But sometimes, and whenever you want, I also say abuse the platform. Know where to break it and how to break it and have a lot of fun with it. And I think that also reminds me a lot of open source. Because I went into open source, not because I wanted to make a ton of money, because then I wouldn't be in open source, just because I wanted a lot of fun. And I think that's the most important thing. While you're developing, while you're doing your job, if you're already on your job 8 hours a day, have a little bit of fun doing it. And we sometimes tend to forget that. Like, for instance, here today we are here, and maybe your company sent you here, but have fun. Like, meet with people, talk with people, have fun, because it's our experiences in life that will help you. Our job is supposed to be fun. I will stress that once again. And I will say, keep the web weird, because I love it. I'm Elian. Thank you.